Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Raymore City Council work session for Monday, August the 3rd, 2026. We'll get the meeting started through, we have a couple of items on our agenda tonight. The first one being the review of the fee schedule. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Fearborn to start that off. Oh, yeah. I was just reminded I was going to do this and got into this, but would like to recognize the loss of one of our own, Mr. Tom Ingert, our city councilman from Ward 4, passed away late Saturday evening. I'd like to recognize his contributions to the community through a moment of silence, if we could. Thank you. And now we'll go to item A on our agenda this evening, which is a review of the fee schedule.
Thanks, sir. I'm just going to turn it immediate. I'll probably have some comments later, but I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Williams, our finance director.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'm going to start off by going through our annual the water sewer rate model, and then we'll get into the particulars of the schedule of fees. I do want to remind you that when we change our sewer rates, there is a public hearing that the state requires. That's why that got advertised in the paper. It requires 30-day public notice, but we also go ahead and advertise for all of our fee schedule changes. As I start by looking at the cost of service model that we use for our water and sewer rates, annually we complete a thorough analysis of using a water and sewer rate model. In this analysis, it's important that we maintain a fund balance to adequately cover our costs. This includes a 17.5% reserve of our expenses in the fund. You may remember we reduced that from 20% to 17.5% last year. We analyze the total expected cost to provide the service, the anticipated consumption per customer, and calculate the rate that needs to be charged in order to break even based on the number of customers for each water and sewer. So we track a lot of data all year, every year. For our water rates, we'll start there. In analyzing our water rates, we are assuming consumption per customer of 75,950 gallons annually. This is taken from the past 3 years' average of billed consumption. The number of customers anticipated for fiscal year 27 is 9,436. We expect to purchase from Kansas City approximately 1,717 million gallons of water. Very specifically, 716,668,886 gallons is what I'm anticipating. We saw a rate increase from Kansas City again this year. The city of Kansas City completed a water utility cost of service study and indicated that they will change wholesale customer water rates. The increase is 5.2%. Our rate model indicates that our water rate will increase less than 1% from $6.88 per 1,000 gallons to $6.94 per 1,000 gallons. Now we'll move on to sewer. For sewer, the average usage is 58,464 gallons annually, and our estimated customers for fiscal year 27 is 9,199. Keep in mind that there is winter averaging, and then there's volume. So when I say the usage, the way that we measure sewer is by how much water volume someone uses. We assume it's all going down into the drain unless they participate in our winter average billing method. Little Blue Valley Sewer District has indicated a 7% increase that will begin in October. Our projected expense for fiscal year 26 with Little Blue Valley Sewer District is $1,751,772 versus fiscal year 27 budget of $1,874, $399. In addition, we have 2,102 customers anticipated in the Middle Big Creek District. Rates are expected to go from $49 to $55 per connection beginning in October. This is an increase of 12.2%. The fiscal year 26 projection is $1,223,726 to Middle Big Creek. And the budget for 2027 is $1,387,320. You may remember that Middle Big Creek is a per connection charge. They've been for the past quite several years. They're anticipating of moving to a flow to where they'll begin billing by the volume method, like Little Blue Valley does. And I know in our CIP plan that you'll see later, there's a lot of work that we're working on I&I over in that area to make sure we're taking care of what could be getting into our sewer once they start that volume method for sure. So the break even for sewer in the rate model calculation is $9.76 per 1,000 gallons for the volume billing method. This is an increase of 34 cents per 1,000 gallons or 3.6%. The winter averaging calculated rate is $10.21 per 1,000 gallons. The combined change in our rates is an increase of 40 cents per 1,000 gallons. The average customer using 5,300 gallons of water and sewer will see a change of approximately $2.09 per month. That concludes my report on the water and sewer. I did go ahead and include for you, like I do each year, just a little report that shows where we are in Raymore versus the surrounding cities or water districts. You can see that we still are much lower than the places right around us when you look at 5,000 gallons. And 10,000 gallons we're second. Lee Summit they still remain first. I guess first place if you want to call it that. But they're less for 10,000 gallons than we are. So our bills are estimated at 5,000 gallons of water and sewer to be $85.10. Where neighboring cities range from $99 up to $182 for the same amount of water and sewer.
Lisa, if I could ask a question. So on page number 1, which is actually page number 2 of the attached report, in the highlighted column in year 2027, if you go down to the break-even rate under sewer, it says unit rate of $9.76, which appears to be a reduction in rate from the previous 2 years. And I was just kind of curious. You said it's going to go up 4%, but that doesn't calculate on that particular number. So why the difference there?
So it's actually the rate for 2026 is the $9.42.
Okay.
That $9.92 is actually, it's calculating that we're going to be losing money this year of what our break even was based on all the information that I have right now. It's saying that we should have, to break even in 2026, we should have been at $9.92. So what it does is it takes in everything that we're projecting and where we're projecting our revenue to be, and then it comes up with that
I got
rate.
you. All right. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that second line on the unit rate. I looked
okay.
at the unit rate necessary to meet cost of service. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
And a lot of times the discrepancy in the break-even rate is one of the largest ones. Obviously, the two large costs in this are what we're paying for sewer to Middle Big Creek and Little Blue, and what we're paying for water to KCMO. Those rates, unfortunately, are different. They're charged differently than what our normal fiscal year is. So if those rates hit in the middle of the year, a break-even rate, they announce them and then they're in place, so we may not break even. That's why you see the discrepancy between what we were charging and what we should have been charging, emphasis being the entirety of water and sewer in the enterprise fund is purely cost of service.
Like one of the things that can affect water is when we anticipate volume, if there's a lot of rain that happens, so that can end up changing that too.
Yeah, that's why the I&I program is so important.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And if you don't have any more questions on specifically on water and sewer, I'll just move through our schedule of fees.
Okay.
I handed that out to you before the meeting. I tried to print it where it's a little bit bigger landscape instead. So what I'm going to go through is just in red, you'll see a strike through, and then our changes are in red. If it's not going to be a change, I'm not going to go through that fee. So starting off in building inspections, we're proposing an update to the building permit and plan review fees. And then moving along to excise tax. The License Tax Review Committee met in July and is recommending increasing the excise tax per trip by the rate of the construction cost index. As of June 2026, that rate was 3%. So that takes it from 2,554 to 2,631, and then $683 in non-residential development to $703 per trip generated. Next, under Public Works, there's just some cosmetic things. We're taking out design and construction manual. That's irrelevant at this point. We don't do that anymore. We're also going to remove the plan copies. These are now available digitally or self-print, so we don't need to have them on our fee schedule. Under the right-of-way, we're adjusting from $35 to $50 and segregating the right-of-way permit fee, which is basically it's the driveway permit fee. That's not billed by linear foot. I can't say that word, to save my life. So we wanted to draw that out separately, and then the right-of-way linear utility installation and repair remains the $1 per linear foot with a minimum of $50. So that minimum of $50 is also a change. Following that, Public Works is modifying our land disturbance fees. Previously, they were calculated with a $500 permit fee and then a $1,000 per gross acre. They would like to change that to break out acres in brackets. So you have a 1 to 5 acres, 5.1 to 10 acres, etc. And then the permit fee will change based on the amount of acres, and then the financial security also based on that amount of acres. And this is our erosion control that we hold until it's accepted, and then that's when that financial security gets returned to the developer. In addition, Public Works is adding a new section for road degradation fees. The same thing, it tiers up based on the pavement age, 0 to 3 years, 3.1 to 6 years, etc. And then what the fee rate will be and the penalty will be.
How are those applied on that? So if you could, Mr. Fearborn, could you discuss the road degradation fees? How is that applied to a developer, or is that just for, I'm just kind of curious how it works.
So one of the things that we have noticed as of late, and a good example, a real concrete example, pardon the pun, would be Creekmore Drive with all the construction that was going on there, and it tore the road to pieces, and we're responsible for that road because we've accepted that infrastructure. So we try to do two things. One is we now require new developments to establish a construction road, if it's at all possible. Example on that one right now is up in the northeast corner of Creekmore. They actually had to construct a separate road that would be the last road associated with the development. The problem with that is, while it takes away the immediate problem, if you've been through some of the new development sites, there are a ton of smaller construction. Sometimes you can't even get through the road because you have all these subcontractors who are parking on the road, utilizing the road to get in and out of these newer developments. This establishes a fee to help us with the costs that are associated with almost in the immediate having to do road repairs. It also applies to any time somebody is coming in and as a result of the project they're cutting the roads, which leads to degradation as well. So it's a pretty all-encompassing charge.
That's good.
Basically going back to the source of the problems when people are coming in and basically utilizing our road to get their developments and their projects done.
Okay. Go ahead.
Next section.
Yep.
The next section is the water and sewer utility. The water and sewer section includes increases to the tap fees, also related to the construction cost index of 3%. Those adjusts annually when we adjust, the same as the excise tax. In addition, you'll see the sewer connection fees, the per trap fee, which was 56 going to 57 with a minimum charge. So those adjustments are also based on that 3% construction cost index. Next, you'll see our water and sewer rates that we just reviewed. After that, I think we're moving to parks. The changes that are occurring within the Parks and Recreation Department were taken to the Park Board in April. They were approved on April 28th. So when they bring those to us, sorry, it's kind of messy. I'm trying to get it cleaned up. It'll be prettier next year. But the shelter rental fees, they're removing the prime and the non-prime and the resident and non-resident portion on the fee schedule for shelter rental. And then under outdoor athletic facilities, they're removing prime and non-prime for all the athletic fields, keeping residential and non-resident scheduled for soccer and flag football fields, and then removal of the soccer field rental per season. And then for the Raymore Activity Center, they are updating the open gym daily pass from $20 for 10 visits to $25. And then they also added open gym for senior citizen program. So this will be free for senior citizens to be able to go in there and walk during normal business hours. And then they also have a new section for sportsmanship coaching program. And then the last thing that they've updated this year is the Park Legacy program. They have the honor bricks, the all-inclusive playground donor wall plaque, a tribute tree, and a memorial bench. And those are all of the changes that you'll see coming forward for the fee schedule. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Lisa. Anybody have any questions on any of the changes that she outlined for us this evening? Mr. Fairborn.
So, as Ms. Williams had stated, of all the items on here, two stand out. One is the excise tax, which the council has to respond each year to the work of the excise tax committee and their recommendation that'll be before you. The sewer is actually a scheduled public hearing when all of this comes before the council. The council has always extended the ability for public input beyond just the sewer rates to anything that happens to be coming before them that night with the sewer rates. Don't quite understand why sewer rates are on and water rates aren't as far as the necessary public hearing, but that's the way things are. So the council will be seeing, you'll be seeing this again when we bring it to you formally for approval. That concludes staff report on this item, sir.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about the fee schedule? Yes, Mr. Barber.
I'm sorry, I should have asked it earlier, but on the road degradation fees, how's that going to be managed? Somebody pulls a permit to do an area, are we going to document the road condition at that time and have them visibly see that, or how's that? Because I know that's been a big issue.
There will be road degradation, so it's a charged fee at that point.
So
in
they're
time,
going to have it no matter what?
no matter what.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, well, if there are no further questions, Lisa, thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate that, very thorough. And we'll move on to item B on our agenda this evening, which is the Charter Commission appointments. This is a follow-up to the last work session that we had where we narrowed it to 4. It's now up to the ward members to narrow it to 2 per ward. I'll turn it over to Mr. Fairborn.
Thank you, sir. And as we have done in the past, and what we did the last time, we just go around to each of the wards, beginning with Ward 1. The mayor has already indicated what his choice is, so it's down to the 8 members, 2 from each of the wards that the council will be choosing. So just like we did last week, we'll be starting with Ward 1, sir.
All right, thank you. Mr. Baker was not able to make it tonight, so I'll take the reins on that for Ward 1. And for Ward 1, I wish to nominate Mrs. Tabitha Baker and Mr. Brian Mills.
Thank you, sir. Ward 2.
For Ward 2, I'm going to nominate Michelle Parker.
And I'm going to nominate Joseph Burke III.
And thank you, sirs. Ward 3.
My nomination is for Todd Crass.
My nomination is for Michael Wilson.
And thank you, sirs. Ward 4.
One correction to the Ward 4 nominations, Mark Miller has pulled and is no longer interested, which leaves me only 2 candidates to consider. The two will be Kerry Morgan and Jim Haddock.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the nomination portion, sir.
You want to tell them what the next step is?
So, yeah, thank you. I will be writing all of the applicants, whether in or out, just letting them know. And then for the nominations that have been put forward tonight, I will be asking them if they still wish to serve, asking them to just write me back. And then the council will be seeing the final list in formal form at the August 29th regularly scheduled council meeting. It'll be in resolution format like any committee or commission format is. And then it's not August 29th, 24th, 27th. What's that date?
31st.
Yeah, because the 31st is a fifth Monday, so it will be the 24th.
Okay, August 24th. All right, thank you.
And then the calendar that the council established calls for 2 weeks after that on Wednesday night for the first meeting of the Charter Commission to take place. The meetings of the Charter Commission will begin at 6 o'clock, just like all of our other boards and commissions in the city council. It will, fortunately, now we have the technology, will actually be in this room now, kind of in this format with a little bit of a V to the camera so that the camera can basically pick up who's talking, even though it'll be pretty evident. Prior to this, we always had the Charter Commission meetings in the executive conference room, televised, microphoned, and very, very crowded. So it'll be a much nicer format that we can have this year with the Charter Commission.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Mr. McDonald?
I just had a question regarding the public format of that. Is that an open meeting or is it simply streamed?
It's streamed and they're all open meetings, just like any of our boards or commissions.
Okay, great, thanks.
Anyone else?
Yeah, can I add something to that?
Sure.
Usually about halfway through, the commission chose not to do this last year. The first commission and the first review commission, I always have to make that delineation, actually about halfway through the process, sometime about March or April, actually had a public hearing, which they can do. They can call those public hearings on their own.
Anything else? Anything under other that we need to bring up this evening?
Not tonight, sir.
Okay.
I take that back, would remind the council that once you see this, budget is imminent. At our next work session, I will be presenting the fiscal year 27 budget and the 5-year CIP to the council. Always a fun meeting for everybody. There is the possibility, I hesitate to do this tonight, a little premature, but there is the possibility that for the first time on the front end of that meeting, we may need to have another agenda item to discuss council vacancy.
Okay. All right. Unless there's something else, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.